Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Sam, I wish we were going to this place, like physically going to this place, but we're not. But we've got a really special, really great guest on the Full Court Press podcast. I can't say the tagline anymore, so it's up in the top, but it's great. Doesn't he look like he's like on Star Trek or some shit like that? It's pretty
He
cool.
does. I love it. He is from he's from an island, man. It's all good.
Yeah, he is.
And,
but we're talking
about Big West basketball, our 30th conference preview show. How do you feel, LT?
I'm tired. I feel like he's like trying to mess with us with the I love it though. But we got Coach Ganot from the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Welcome to the Full Court Press, Coach.
Thanks for having me. I know it's a unique background here, and I'm not tech savvy, but we'll make it work. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Just I'm glad you didn't make us jealous by like sitting on the beach somewhere and with that as your background.
I don't know where I am.
I know, right? You never know. So it's all good. It's all good. So how's the fall treating you guys? You know, it's practice is up and running. Tip-off's a couple weeks away. You know, how's the team looking? Let's start there.
Yeah, no, we like our group. We like where we're at. We like where we're headed. Obviously, we have a lot of new faces. So we're in that part of the year where, you know, we've been beating each other up quite a bit and probably ready to play some other opponents. You can feel the new faces, though. We haven't, you know, a lot of teams in the country have had a lot of turnover over the years. We haven't had a lot of guys. We're probably one of the least in the country at having guys go into the portal. But our new faces a little bit more because we had a large senior class. So, you know, the blueprint's still there. We're going to, everything program-wise is as a team. Offensively, we share the ball. Defensively, we have each other's back. Rebounding, we do our job, make sure we get it. So that, and then you're wrinkling for the strengths of your personnel. But right now, we're still learning about our team. We're throwing guys in the fire so we can get to know these new guys quicker. But we love our potential and looking to chip away and see where we can be as the season goes along.
Yeah. So I have two things I want to kind of share. Okay. A little bit of knowledge here, or maybe you can give us some advice. So when I look at all the schools in the Big West, there's 11 teams in it currently. You're the only non-California team. How does that make you feel, Coach?
Special. Makes us very special. No, it's well, in a lot of conferences we've been over the years, we'll always be the only whatever because it's one of the most unique jobs in the country. Certainly, it's one of the great jobs. It's a great situation, great people, great fan base. It's a very unique deal. So we'll always be a bit of an outlier in the conferences we've been in over the years. I came here as an assistant in 2006 when we were part of the WAC. And as we all know, with conference realignment, it's been very unique because the WAC currently has no teams from the WAC that I was part of. And at one point, there was no Mountain West. There was one big 16-team conference, and you know, and then we moved into the Big West, and obviously in a couple of years we'll move into the Mountain West. And so, while there had been some realignment everywhere where teams are going to start new rivalries, we're kind of rekindling old rivalries. So excited about that down the road.
Yes. And the other thing I need to say, I can't imagine you lose many recruits when you bring them on campus for a recruiting visit.
It's pretty good when we get them up here, obviously. And
keyword is get them. I mean, it's kind of a hike, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful hike.
Yeah, you know, and you know, moving to the Big West and the travel is not. And obviously, look, I've gotten a lot of calls from people all over the country in this realignment about how they handle the travel, and I think we have it down pretty good in terms of we've been used to it. I just wonder, you know, to them, I'll sometimes say, well, why are you? We have to do it. Why are you doing it? And it's been really unique, but this is a really special place. You know, we obviously really big on people and, you know, character 1, talent 2, investment 3, people want to be here. It's obviously exciting for a lot of reasons, but, you know, it's not just the weather here. Let's make that clear. The Aloha spirit is real. It's very family oriented. And obviously when you come on campus, your first impression is the beauty and the weather. But when you get to the culture and the people, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I love it. So let's talk a little about some of the people you have added to the roster. You know, some people, I mean, you added some height and some length. You guys are going to surprise a lot of teams defensively, I think, this year with kind of a new look out there. 6'10" Utah Tech transfer Tanner Christensen, and then 6'8" a Xavier transfer Giddis Nemiska. How do I say that?
Giddis, and
Okay.
it goes by Nemo. If that helps.
Okay, there we go. That'll make it much easier. That'll make it much
Finding
easier.
Nemo.
Yeah, so talk a little about Nemo and Tanner and kind of how they're fitting in with this year and kind of the identity that you guys are kind of creating with the roster that's been put together.
Well, we've always been good defensively, and I think as our guys, like the reality is, everybody's true strengths as a player, as a team when they get comfortable, and they're not comfortable until they're in shape, which they should all be, or comfortable with the system, and which is coming for some new faces, but. In this unique year for us where we lost a lot in that big senior class, and we've had great success. I think in the new world, it's really important that you're successful in the transfer market in terms of kind of call it portal positive. You may lose some guys to the portal, but is what you're bringing in better than what you're losing? And then being good in the international market, which we're ahead of in both areas. So, but this year, we needed to bring in impactful transfers, guys who didn't really have to have the learning curve of playing. They've played. They're just now going to either play more or play a different style, obviously. So, right off the bat, you talk about Tanner Christensen, who was, 12-7 at Utah Tech, and I think he's improved. He's an impact player in our league, especially at the 5 position. He's probably one of the best screeners we'll have. He can score on the low post. He can hit an open 3. He can pass as a big. And he's all 6'10", 260. So imposing at the rim, clearly. We bring in Jerome Palm, who we feel like can start for a lot of teams. Another big kid, 6'9", 6'10", from Valparaiso. And those guys are competing every day. And he started a lot of games for them. So I think those two are off to a good start. And then Marcus Green, obviously, in the backcourt. This is a 16-a-game scorer at Houston Christian, and he's had big 20-point games, things like that. On efficient numbers, there's a lot of guys who score, and this is a guy who shot really good percentages from 3 for 42 plus, and he's learning a new system and he's getting comfortable. But you could see the scoring potential there. And I'm trying to think. Tanner, Jerome, Marcus, and obviously Giddis. Giddis has been a part-time starter and has had 20-point game at a really good program at Xavier. So we feel like those guys have been impactful transfers we're bringing in. And I can talk more about them. The returners have made a jump. People always sleep on the returners. Like, you just make predictions off who's coming back, who's coming in, and nobody realizes it's been, almost a year since they've played. So guys can make a jump, and we're excited to work with them.
Yeah. So I look at the preseason rankings, the coaches poll that came out, and I always think they're kind of comical because it's like, especially now in today's landscape of college basketball, it's like shooting darts. Like, when you saw 7th, I mean, does it really bother? Like, does it really matter at the end of the day when you saw you're coming 7th in preseason rankings?
I always say it every year. Like, what I like about the preseason rankings is that the season's around the corner. That's about all it is. And I would imagine, I know a lot of people. It's an exciting time of the year. We're making predictions. I think everybody has always said over the years, it's really hard to predict teams. I'd imagine, as you guys can probably attest to, it's harder than ever. And so I don't know if a lot of coaches know their teams. I think what we're going through with some of the new faces is a great challenge, but I think the volatility of the predictions and what will end up being the reality is going to be interesting around the country. It has been over the last couple of years, but it is exciting because the season's around the corner. And, we always tell our guys, use anything you can as fuel for motivation, right? But don't make it your sole motivation. Like, our genuine desire to be great has to be at the forefront, and any little thing we can use to add to that, add it. But it can't be our sole motivation, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think it's, UC Irvine, the Anteaters were favored with the most. And I mean, they returned probably the most efficiency that they had, but it's going to be really interesting. Like UC Santa Barbara, one fine young lad that they got was Steven Swanson, who we followed last year at Stetson. So, I mean, that'll be a good pickup. But I'm excited. You know what I love about Big West basketball, Sam?
What's up?
Late night, baby. It's late night.
It's late
Everybody
night.
goes to bed, and I watch more basketball.
Highly underrated too, just like the IQ that's in the Big West. Like, and I mean, that comes from kind of the coaches out there. I mean, you've got Coach Turner, 14 years at UC Irvine, right? And then, UC Davis, Coach Laz, 13 years, Coach Taylor, 11 years, and like the list goes on. And I mean, you're celebrating your 10th year, I believe, right, Coach?
Correct.
But now you also have some newcomers in, I mean, Long Beach State's bringing in Chris Acker, who I think he was an assistant for you your first couple of years, right? So what have you talked to Chris since he's taken that job?
Yeah, well, first I'll say you're exactly right. I think it's a very underrated league. I think they're really good coaches. There's developed talent. There's been a lot of parity over the years. And I think it's one of those that, as a conference, it's difficult for us as a conference to schedule. And when that happens, it might impact your computer rankings, which impact everybody's computer rankings. But you see how we do in the non-conference. You see how we do in postseason play. I mean, it's a really good conference that the computer rankings, while still it's gone up to 14th, I think, as a league, is underrated more because of some of the scheduling challenges. It's not exactly the reality, but really good coaches like you talked about. Worked for us our first couple of years, was very impactful for us, and then went on to Boise and went on to San Diego State. Two things I know as you get going a little longer in this profession. One, unfortunately, you will have to coach. Well, there's nothing like hiring your former players, which has started to happen for us now as I've gotten a little older. It's incredible. And two, it's unavoidable to coach against your friends and colleagues and former bosses and things like that. But Ack is tremendous. We've always had a great relationship, and we will root hard for him. He will do great.
Yeah. So now with the kind of the landscape of how things have gone with the NCAA tournament, the NIT, how difficult, especially for you where you're at, I mean, you're on an island. I think you're still on an island, but how difficult was the non-conference scheduling this year, more so than maybe last or summers past?
I think the big thing is, like anywhere, you got to get ahead of it. And I think it's become more challenging because people schedule later than they normally did, if that makes sense. I think with the new world we live in, when I started coaching, you recruited most of your class in the fall and maybe added a piece in the spring or summer. Now it's complete 180, which has moved scheduling back. And scheduling going from, there's it's a science to it. You're trying to find the right opponent at the right date. And sometimes you find that the dates don't match and people are waiting on conference schedules still. As you know, it's not as clear. We get conference schedules later. Conference realignment impacts the gaps and windows we have to fill. So one of the things here, especially here, it's really difficult to schedule late in Hawaii because if you do, people have to adjust for how to put in the Hawaii travel with their current non-conference. So I think the good thing, and I think our staff's done a great job. Look, we brought back the Rainbow Classic, which is in its 58th year. It's the longest standing tournament. As all this new events have come on, the Rainbow Classic is incredible, has great tradition, great history. We're going to host the Diamond Head Classic again over Christmas. And then we're hosting in the Rainbow, we have Mountain West San Jose State coming in. We have Pacific from the WCC. We have non-conference home games against Corpus Christi and Weber State, who both won 20 games. And obviously, I think you guys saw we're hosting, top 10 North Carolina on Friday in our arena on their way to Maui. So we're throwing this new face group in the fire.
Yeah.
and playing at Grand Canyon before we play at Long Beach to start league.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, that's one of the best non-conference schedules that I've heard so far. And congratulations on that. So it's, your team's going to be ready for Big West play. That's for sure.
We'll learn a lot about each other. And I think that's the whole deal right now. I think this group, because of those new faces, might be one of those groups that improve the most as the season goes along.
Yeah. I mean, talk a little bit about the conference, a little about some of the teams. I know you kind of talked a little bit, but a little bit more like, some of the things, the parities or some of the things you're going to see this year with some of the players and teams. I mean, if put it this way, if they're writing a script on the Big West this year, the conference season, I mean, kind of how would it go?
I imagine it'd be a lot like for a lot of conferences with the new faces, a little bit unpredictable, but it'll be what I will say, it's gonna be very competitive, and there'll be a lot of close games, and there's be ebbs and flows for everybody, in terms of that. Like, you mentioned Irvine, Coach Turner's done a great job there. They've been at the top of the league. They're not going away. And, you talk about, Santa Barbara, like if you look at it, there's been every coach in our league and the new coaches. You talk about Coach DeGeorge at Cal Poly. A lot of head coaches have been coaches of the year or have been used to winning, run really good programs. Riverside returns a lot, and Mike's done a great job over there. Like I said, Ack's going to do a great job there. Rod Barnes has been a coach of the year several times at Cal State Bakersfield. Eric Olin from UC San Diego came over, in that transition, and they were at the top of the league last year. Really difficult matchup. Jim Less, obviously, like we talked about here in the championship game last year, returned a preseason player of the year candidate. So Dedrick Taylor has been up there. And so I think more than a lot of conferences, when you say a script, well, one, it's to be very competitive. There's a lot of coaches and teams and players that have a lot of pride and aren't going to go away. So it'll be interesting competition to follow during the year. It's going to be exciting.
Yep. Sam, you think he's ready for it?
Let's do it. So, Coach, we do a little thing called the shot clock here. Luke is going to fire off 5 or 6 questions. They should be pretty easy. There might be some deep thought into these, but maybe some one-word answers. If it leads to a short story, the platform's yours. So, LT, let's fire away.
I get one timeout. Here we go.
As many as you want. I'll even give you a technical too. One word to describe Hawaii, University of Hawaii.
Special.
Okay. One word to describe the Big West.
Competitive.
One word to describe Randy Bennett.
I need more than one word there.
All right, I'll give you 2.5.
Take your time, man. It's all good. Yeah.
Obviously, he's been very influential in my career and a lot of people's careers. So there's no one word to describe him. Obviously, one could be legend in every way because the combination of the success on the floor is because of the growth of the person. So on the court, off the court, in the classroom, develops achievers, develops future leaders, future husbands, fathers. One word, probably be listening to myself, impactful.
Yeah. And it's amazing how long he's been. I mean, you look at your tenure at Hawaii, you've been there for 10 years. I mean, Bennett's been there at St. Mary's forever, and I don't think he's going anywhere. So biggest misconception of Big West basketball?
That's a good question. I think what I said earlier, and I don't know if it's a misconception. I think people have started to really respect our league. But I said sometimes this is a world of analytics and numbers, and you look at and you just see numbers, and I don't. But I think the coaching fraternity knows the league's really good. So the biggest misconception is it's even as we've started to figure out the Big West is really good, it's still better than we think.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
And I think college basketball from the talent and coaching is in a really good spot. And I think there's so much good basketball, especially in that, non-Power 5. I mean, let's be honest. We hear that a lot about just, kind of the media portray of some of these conferences. And both Sam and I could say for sure the Big West is one of them that should get more attention. Funniest recruiting story?
Funniest recruiting story. That's tough. I remember having many years ago, maybe when I was an assistant, I had a really good relationship with a recruit, and then I had a friend of mine call me and say he's and this doesn't happen too often. We're smart about this, but said, "Hey, I know you really like this kid, but I know people around him and a friend of mine in the industry, and said he's just coming for a visit." And then I remember calling this recruit, the student athlete, and kind of respectfully calling him out on that, and then hung up the phone. And then he called me back and committed to Hawaii. So there you go.
Wow. That's great. Wow. And the rest is history. Most animated coach on the sideline in the Big West.
That's I'm sure you guys will it's probably if you've had everyone in our league probably says Russ. So he's up there, Joe Pasternak. And I think we got some Jim Les. I mean, I think they all have their moments. I guess when you say most is who's the most consistent with it. But it's tough. I don't really look over there too much.
Yeah. You're going to start looking more now. I can sense it.
Yeah, now you're in my head. I don't want to look over.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Most memorable game. What's the first game that comes to your mind?
Obviously, those couple special moments. Our first year when we won the league at Davis. We hadn't won the league regular season in a long time, and to win it at UC Davis, to do it on the road, and they're a really good program. Mm-hmm. And then obviously winning the conference tournament and winning our first ever NCAA game. So I think they're all pretty special. We've had some big wins outside of that. Senior night a couple of years ago, our 100th anniversary game, the Diamond Hit Classic Championship when we had Javon McClanahan hit a buzzer beater. So a guy hit a buzzer beater in front of his family on Christmas Day on national television to win our first Diamond Hit Classic. And that might not be the best that you're talking about. So we've had a lot of good ones. In fact, we show all these great moments when we talk about the history of the program with our current guys. But when we won our first NCAA tournament game and beat Cal, you don't get to really savor it too often because it usually goes down to the wire. But this game, there was we were holding the ball for 30 seconds and you could actually look into the crowd because, when the ball gets tipped, you don't hear anything other than your guys and the officials.
Yeah. Right.
To feel the crowd in Spokane and hear them chanting Warriors, that was like a 30-second, if you saw the Pursuit of Happiness movie where you're just kind of it's the happiness, the joy, and being able to take it all in, that was pretty special.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And that's what basketball is all about. So Hawaii's got some very nice and unique smells. So there's going to start a candle collection of coaches in the Big West. So if they had a Coach Ganot candle, what scent would it be?
What are the options? This is a world I don't know.
You can go anything. I mean, we've heard different coaches from all over the country. It's some people go from their hometown. So if you want to go back East Coast with the smells of New Jersey, you're more than welcome to. But I think the tropical smells in Hawaii are probably a little bit better. We've heard everything from gunpowder smoke to vanilla bourbon to lavender to strawberry, you name it.
Eucalyptus mint.
Well, I'm very loyal to Hawaii, and I'm very loyal to New Jersey. It's where I was born in Philly. So I'm not going to sit here and say I want and I say this respectfully. I mean, I love it, and when I go home, I miss. But I don't want to have a scent of a pizza, a bagel, or a diner. I love going there, but I like to be anytime you get a break, you want to be calm. I like to do my walks, and so the scent would be the ocean breeze.
Ocean breeze. I would personally go with pineapple punch, but that's cool.
That's really good. You should, if you walk, you should be able to smell some pineapple when you're walking around too.
Yes. The song that best describes you.
The song. Goodness, you got to just ask our players. These are questions I should not answer. I don't know the song that best describes me.
We've heard anything from the Grateful Dead to
Jimmy Buffett,
to DMX,
country music, you name it.
I think I might have to. This is something I'm going to ask our players.
Okay.
And back to you. This is I listen to the radio. I just listen. I just go with whatever's.
Put whatever's on there, huh?
I listen to everything, but probably. I listen to everything but punk or maybe some country. Some country's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. We'll pull the players and let's see what they say about you.
Yeah, and you didn't have to use any timeouts.
I know. It's all
that would have been a full timeout right there.
Coach,
just wait, Sam. At least I didn't ask you to name your favorite official in the Big West.
Yeah, we've had that one too. Yeah.
It's a 100-way tie. I love it.
There you go. That's the right answer. So the coaches we interview either say it's a tie from all of them, or none of them are any good, and they've all got to earn it from day one each season.
Hey, always remember, put yourself in other people's position. I would be scared to hear if they were asked that question about
there
us.
You go.
Yeah,
yep,
that's
fair. That's fair. Well, Coach, we appreciate coming on the Full Court Press podcast. Learn a little bit about the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors this upcoming season and the Big West Conference preview show. Last minute of this episode, I'm going to turn it over to you, Coach. Anything you want to share to the Rainbow Warrior fans, boosters, the people in your community? Like, what can they be expecting from the team this year?
No, I appreciate that. One, I want to thank you guys for the time. We are very appreciative for the opportunity to, it's not just about our program. It's about the athletic department, the university, the state. It's a very special place. So anytime we get to talk about all those things, including who we represent, the Big West Conference, it's an honor. So I know fans who are listening in, we've had 7 straight winning seasons. We've had back-to-back 20-win seasons. Obviously, we're trying to break through, and we're doing it at a unique time. But we really appreciate you guys for giving us the forum, our fans who are listening on for staying with us through these challenging times that are going on in the landscape of college athletics. There's no place like Hawaii. And like I said at the front of this, it's a lot more than just the weather. I always say the weather is the second best part. It's the people. Yeah. And we're very excited to have a great group of people in our program, in our school, in our community. And we look forward to making everybody proud.
So I got an idea, Sam. Okay. Well, I got some good ideas. Just no one listens. I don't even listen to myself, but so we don't have a sponsor yet. We should be the Full Court Press, brought to you by the state of Hawaii.
There you go.
Live in Hawaii.
Hey, yes. No, it's the people in Hawaii are special. They're some of the most proud people in the entire world. And I mean, I'm sure that shows up at your home games and just how they represent you guys in the community as well. So, but like I said, we appreciate having you on our show. And if there's anything we can do for you or Big West basketball, don't ever hesitate to reach out. LT, I'll let you close it out here.
So, Coach, you're going to stick on with us for one more second. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review to the Full Court Press, whether it's on YouTube, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. Don't forget a 5-star review. We're still stuck on Eldon Campbell. We want to get to Derek Coleman, so 44 5-star reviews. And don't forget to check out College Basketball Weekly, which will be dropping shortly. And also, big important thing is stay up late and watch some Hawaii Rainbow Warriors basketball in the very competitive Big West. We'll be back next time we got one more conference preview show on the Full Court Press. Sammy, I'll see you soon, buddy.
Let's get it.
Thank you, guys.